ideas, a few things, so that I can just talk to you, share with you, and I can also be a reiteration to myself. That's what actually the background of this thing. And and we know that actually the genetic, we can't just ignore genetics. Lifestyle, we say genetic is the main thing that actually determines the life expectancy for a person. But what studies have shown that, several studies have shown that only 25% of your longevity is actually dependent on genetics. Whether 75% is lifestyle. We won't believe that. Lifestyle can actually determine 75% of your longevity. And of course, nutrition is a big piece of puzzle there. They say there are several types of nutrition being suggested as good for this thing, longevity, health, etc., etc. And most people want to live a long life. They don't know about how to. And the goal of longevity is also to live a healthier life, not simply longer life. That is also important. So the entire thing depends on metabolism. Our performance, our activity, our life, vitality, everything is determined by metabolism. If we don't have metabolism, we die. So the most important thing that is manipulable, or probably what you call steerable, is metabolism. We can, because this is a simple slide that you can see, it can just almost akin to a traffic island. Our metabolism, the glucose metabolism primarily. There are several other metabolites or fuels that has been metabolized. But here you can see that it is akin to a traffic island. There are sort of incoming inroads, are like ways out. There are two-way roads, there are one-way roads, etc., etc., which depends on the traffic on one side. If there is a busy traffic on one side, this thing can get diverted to the other part. Like, for example, if there is the metabolism is in an anaerobic condition and there is less oxygen, it will take a route to lactate, the pyruvate that become lactate. When it is oxidative metabolism, it again go to pyruvate. When there is plenty of energy, then it goes to acetyl coenzyme and become fat. When there is demand for energy, the acetyl coenzyme may go to citric acid cycle and become ATP, energy, etc., etc. So it all depends. It's actually dependent on environment. There are several conditions on which the metabolism actually acts. So it's all manageable and steerable. Just an example for that. And this metabolism has a circadian rhythm, just like hormones. There is a circadian, daytime it is different, nighttime it is different, like that. So this actually circadian rhythm of metabolism get reprogrammed as you age. It's not the same as what you are born with. It's not the same as when you are young. It is old. It is changing. The reprogramming of circadian metabolic pathways by aging can be reversed through certain mechanisms. That is by dietary interventions and lifestyle interventions. There are several of that, including calorie restricted diet, intermittent fasting, etc., etc., in the lifestyle, dietary intervention, whereas improvement of sleep quality, diet, exercise, etc., etc., and this thing, it can be reprogrammed, it can be rejuvenated. It's not that it is just simply like that, it is a irreversible process. It's not like that, it can be reversed. And everything takes place through the manipulation of the genes through epigenetic influences. The genes actually works under the pressure of epigenetics, influences. Then epigenome are actually during aging and sort of emergence of cellular senescence, a series of epigenetic changes occur in the body, in the cells actually, and including the alterations in DNA methylation or RNA modification, histone modification, chromatin remodeling, and probably regulation of the even non-coding RNA. Non-coding RNA can influence the genetic expression after the transcription. The post-transcription expressions of the genes can be influenced by even non-coding RNA, not even coding RNA. That can be manipulated through these lifestyle changes. That's it. So everything can go deep into the genes that we superficially do. That's sleeping properly, taking good food, doing an exercise. Everything actually acts through the genes. It's not just like burning calories or nothing like that. And the history of the what you call the studies on aging associated with epigenetic regulations has started decades back. We have accumulated data, several data has come across, like now how it happens, how the genes are influenced through, what are the factors that affects the epigene, etc., etc. And also there are attempts to try to reverse it or change it or alter it, or there are therapeutic attempts of influencing the epigenetic changes. And that is even started way back in 1935, where it was found that calorie restriction can have a epigenetic influence which can increase longevity. It has come a long way now. Now we have reached a stage where we have even aging vaccines. Vaccines that can target senescent cells, older cells, and can specifically selectively kill older cells and leave the younger cells in you, so that your entire organism stay young. So that is all almost entering the clinical stage. So it's all practical possibilities. There are senolytic drugs which can specifically target older cells and leave younger cells, so that older cells dies, more younger cells will be there in you, and you will be more youthful. Like that, there are several things that is happening in that field. And the maintaining a mitochondrial homeostasis is essential for delaying aging. And the current studies actually provides evidence for aging interventions, such as what you call the physical exercises, dietary interventions, and through certain small molecular compounds like drugs. This can positively alter the biogenesis of mitochondria. That is, it can produce more healthy mitochondria through influencing the PGC1 alpha, which is a transcription factor or protein that specifically target the mitochondrial genes to produce more fresh mitochondria. And it can also alter the mitochondrial quality. That is, it can remove older dysfunctional mitochondria. It can add more healthier, younger mitochondria into the cell, so that your entire metabolism becomes healthier and more, you regain vitality. And these small molecules, there are plenty of small molecules being studied and proven in experimental animals that can rejuvenate or regain the health of, or probably re-establish the vitality of metabolism of several organ systems, including heart, liver, brain, kidney, or you name, everything is there. So there are several molecules, but some of them are very commonly used drugs like metformin. Metformin used in diabetes. It's a good news for, it's a thing of hope for diabetics, especially type 2 diabetes who are on metformin. If you use metformin regularly on optimum dosage, it is proven that it can improve your longevity. Why I'm specifically telling is that there were controversies on metformin. One particular social media, that is called Karma News or something like that, actually had released a video saying that metformin is very dangerous. So some few years back, one of my doctor patients, who is an octogenarian, who had been on metformin for 30 plus years, and he was my patient for 20 plus years, and he was using metformin. One day came to me, he was asking me, "Doctor, why you didn't stop metformin, knowing that it is very dangerous?" I said, "It's not dangerous, sir. It is very good for you." No. Karma News was telling that. So I said, "Why do you believe Karma News? I am telling you it is good." But he insisted that it should be stopped. After stopping 2-3 years of stopping metformin, he developed a lot of problems, including hypothyroidism and some sort of memory lapses, dementia, something like that. And I once told him, if you had continued metformin, probably this wouldn't have happened like so early. That's what. Ultimately, it has to happen. But then anyway, maybe that's what my wishful thinking. I don't know whether it would have, but whatever. So that is one thing. Then another thing is, like based on the molecular mechanisms of underlying cellular senescence and aging, they have actually that a lot of series of therapeutic strategies has been devised, which mostly depends on epigenetic regulations and reprogramming of the genes, etc., etc. That's been proposed. Actually, it's not been clinically practiced now. It has been proposed, which includes drugs, genetic reprogramming through probably viral vectors, or epigenetic factors, influences, chemotherapeutic substances, senolytic drugs, etc., etc. But what we are interested in is not all those things. Now that we can't do all those things now, it's not been available, but active health is one promising thing. We all do that. I'm sure that everybody practice these components of active health, which includes exercise, calorie restriction, and actually what you call scheduling the circadian rhythm properly. All these things are known to improve vitality and also add a little to your longevity and physical health, physical and mental health actually. So active health, actually, what is active health? It is nothing but it is a choice of healthy lifestyle. It is an autonomous choice, a deliberate, willing choice of healthy lifestyle, which includes calorie restriction, regular routine, regularizing your routine, scheduling it properly, and also a moderate exercise. So these things actually can modify the metabolism and your genetic structure, not through we might think probably the calorie restriction is simply reducing obesity by eating less fat or less calories. Not like that. It all go through the genetic manipulation, including exercise. So finally, it has got a very structural, very significant, deep impact on your system that can last longer. It's not like simply you just eat less and then that way half a kilo you eat less, you lose half a kilo. It's not like that. It is a very deep impact. And there are several diets also for longevity. We all would have learned about or heard about calorie restricted diet. That is the first thing that has been known to improve longevity. Then low protein diet, plant-based diet, then time restricted fasting, time restricted eating, fasting mimicking diet, etc., etc. Several fad diets are there. Now it has become a fashion that some people even talk about high protein, low calorie diet. Now I was just thinking whether it is correct or not. So several of my patients comes and ask me, sir, now I'm on a high protein diet. I eat a lot of protein, less calorie. Is it good? Now I just looked at the studies, and studies showed that for people between 50 to 65, there's a huge data which says that when they were followed up from UK, this data shows that those who are eating low protein actually gains a few years to their life between 50 to 65, if you practice it between 50 to 65, by way of reducing all-cause mortality, probably to the tune of around 4 to 5 years, and cancer mortality to up to the tune of around 12 to 15 years. Right? So by a low protein diet, if you practice it between 50 to 65, but what happens is the influence reverses, the effect reverses around 65 years, where people after 65 years actually require more proteins for their sustenance. So you can't practice it after 65. If you have to practice it, you have to practice it before 65. That's it. And the benefit for diabetes continues. It is not reversing. It is good, but there is no CVD benefit. As far as CVD, cardiovascular system is there is no cardiovascular benefit for low protein diet. It is neutral. Whether you eat low protein or high protein, it doesn't matter. The biggest gain is in the cancer mortality. So that is it. So what is low protein diet? It's around 7% of your calorie comes from protein. Actually, not more than 7. That is it. Ideally, we are supposed to have 10 to 15% of protein. 15% of calories coming from protein. That is the average protein requirement per day. But then you actually need less than that. That's what they say. And there are also several studies which had shown that plant-based diet has got several benefits, including that of benefits for general health, weight loss, reducing blood pressure, lowers cholesterol, good for gut health, and reduces the risk of cancer. It's been all proven thing. But what actually, for me, what caught my attention was the gut health thing. Why is it different is, why I'm specifically pointing out that is, your microbiome, the gut microbiome, is actually dependent on what type of food you eat. Several of the microbiome reaches your gut through the thing that you eat. there are bacteria that thrive on non-vegetarians and eat on vegetarian things. So there are different species. So it depends on that. When you eat that, that also changes. And also there are bacterial system that may probably depend on more of heme that comes from red meat, etc., etc. So the gut bacterial flora can change depending on the food that we eat. And it is shown that those who eat vegetarian diet, plant-based diet, have a different microbiome. Microbiome is the gene mass of the microbiota that can positively influence the host genome. Host genome is our own genome. It has a crosstalk between this microbiome and the host genome. There is a continuous crosstalk. That is, it can mutually influence each other. And the microbiome that is seen in the vegetarian gut can positively modulate the epigenome to improve the metabolism, including that of glucose metabolism and oxidative phosphorylation. So that way, if you eat more, it's not that exclusively plant-based, but predominantly plant-based diet, your gut microbiome becomes a dominantly good ones that can positively modulate your metabolism. That is what interested me. Then, when you talk about plant-based diet, even cereals, grains are plant-based. Eating a lot of rice or chapatis are also plant-based, but it is not really beneficial. So there has to be some specific balances. This is a pyramid that shows that 50% of your food daily energy requirement should come from vegetables and fruits. And the remaining 50% out of that, only 25%, a quarter of that should come from grains. That too, whole grains. And the remaining should be protein and healthy fat. That should come from, for vegetarians, the protein comes from legumes mostly. And fat comes from oils, nuts, avocado, etc., etc. for vegetarians. And 2 to 3 servings of green leafy vegetables is also a must for everyday life, everyday diets. If you eat this sort of diet, that is the thing that actually benefits the most in terms of longevity. And it was shown in a UK biobank study, which includes around 5 lakh participants registered way back from 2006 onwards and followed up till now, around probably 19 years or so. What they found is there are certain food items which is associated with longevity. The highest quantity of certain items can add more life to you. There are certain food items that can actually reduce your life. So you can see from here, the highest quintile, here you can see what is shown in green and blue is what is associated with longevity. Those items are whole grains, vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, and of course fish, and also white meat to a certain extent. And what is associated with the risk for life or reducing the longevity is found to be red meat, processed meat, refined grains, and also sugary, sugar sweetened beverages. And also excess of eggs can also sometimes cause problems. Egg has to be consumed in moderation, like around 3 eggs per week or so. So that is it. So these items are proven to be improving your longevity. So if you can practice it. And if you want to eat meat, white meat is the best, not red meat. And what has shown that from that analysis, they have ultimately concluded that if somebody shifts from an unhealthy diet at the age of 40 to a more healthier diet, they gain around 10 years of life. 10 years, whether it is females or males, whether it is BMI adjusted or not, in any way you are going to gain when you do that from 40 years onwards. But it's not too late even at 70. Even if you do it at 70, it is shown that for both sexes, at least you will gain 5 years if you follow a healthy diet. So it's not simple. You're just getting 5 years, 10 years into your life by several of these manipulations of your lifestyle. And another most important thing is stress that kills you earlier, faster. Stress can unsettle everything in life. It can unsettle your exercise, sleep, eating pattern, everything. This is a very competitive world, and you can't see an individual person without stress. And what is shown that any sort of mental illness, mental trouble, stress, depression, anxiety, or even schizophrenia, psychosis, everything kills you earlier. For the same cause of death, compared to those who have a normal mind and no mental disorders, and those who have mental disorder, you can die at least 4 years earlier if you are stressed. So how do you manage stress? Yeah. So this is what? At least you can add 4 years into your life by leading a stress-free life. For stress-free life, one of the most established mechanism or way of reducing stress is by practicing meditation and focusing. Nothing else can actually give you so much peace of mind. Maybe socializing or probably recreations, involving in hobbies, etc., can also be a way of improving your peace of mind that is there. But one specific way is meditation. And now this is vaccines. Another way, another method of adding life to your life is years to your life is by taking proper vaccination. It is shown that the high income countries who have a very good more than 100% coverage of vaccination has got a very significantly higher lifespan than compared to low income countries though have very insignificant vaccination coverage. So it's not only actually pointing to infantile vaccine or pediatric vaccination, but also adult vaccination, including that of influenza vaccine, pneumococcal vaccines, and all those things. So if you take an annual influenza vaccine, you can probably save yourself from 2-3 episodes of flu. Even infections, viral infections, bacterial infections can all affect your metabolism in the long run. And if you get it frequently, you can sometimes probably totally damage your metabolism and accelerate your aging. And finally, the most important thing is exercise. And it is said that research has actually shown that individuals who have transitioned from an unhealthy or probably inactive lifestyle to a regular physical activity could reduce their mortality by up to 57%, which can be translated to a extra life expectancy of around 5 years by just practicing regular moderate exercise of around 150 minutes per week. Just so much can add 5 years to your life. That's it. And there are several conditions or considerations, the intensity, the type, everything, all this matters. But anyway, considering all these things, what I was thinking, and we all know that doctors are known to have 10 years lesser life expectancy compared to the general population. IMA study, Kerala IMA had studied, and I think they released a report saying that doctors die 10 years earlier than the general population. Am I not true? Correct? Yeah. That's what I think. So, I was wondering, rather than telling patients to do all these things, we should tell doctors that there are ways that actually can add this losing 10 years to your life. There are certain methods or probably mechanism by which you can actually manipulate your this compromise in longevity. And then I thought, recently I heard of somebody has actually started an exercise program called MEC7, which is nothing but a PT exercises being practiced in a group. And there are, I think, lakhs of people following that. But actually, it is not a true scientific thing. People have come to me with injured knees and all those things after doing that. There are several controversies also associated with that. Then I thought that has been designed and developed by an engineer, a person engineer. Why don't doctors do all this? Actually, doctors are the best people to do something about this. If doctors, as doctors, we should do something about that. That is how, when I thought of that, I thought I will just design a package, a sort of a system, a module of exercise, a few exercise sets that can give you not only physical exercise, but also mental focusing, concentration, so that you can combine both meditation and exercise in one while doing the same thing. And half an hour or 40 minutes per day, if you do that, it will both have exercise and meditation in it. Why? Because what is meditation actually? Meditation is nothing but focusing. It is not chanting Om mantra or something like sitting like this. It is simply focusing your mind. So if you can focus it while doing exercise, usually we don't focus while exercising, except when we are playing a game, you focus. That's why games are good. But here we don't get times, or probably we are not all skilled in games, or we don't have enough of facilities to do that. So this particular exercise system called MET7, that is meditational exercise training. MET, you all know, MET is metabolic equivalent. What is one MET? One MET is the amount of oxygen that you consume when you are at rest.